Hello and welcome to episode 160 of Wing Sauce. The draft has concluded, and same thing with at least the first couple days of free agency. There's a lot to talk
I
about.
was going to say free agency doesn't close until like March.
Yeah, exactly. So the draft is concluded. Overall, from what we have seen in reports, it looks like another good job by Stevie and the team.
I read a couple. A lot of people are pegging them at like a B minus area as far as like the draft goes. We're gonna jump into it, but I think a lot of people thought he was gonna make some moves as far as like moving some draft picks for players, to another team, which I don't think happened. And I think that was kind of a theme that I was reading across the board. Is a lot of people thought that was going to happen as far as like, hey, let's give up some of the draft picks that we have and now our future drafts and kind of get a player that could be a possible first liner for us or a goal scorer
but who knew, who knows, maybe something like that was on the table.
I'm not saying guaranteed.
I agree with you. I'm just saying, you look at Zadina just got put on waivers, which means that over the last probably week or so, Yzerman probably tried to make a deal with somebody and at least tried to test out the market to see if anyone was willing to bite, and no takers. So putting him, Zadina's on waivers now. I'd be interested to see who's going to claim Zadina, but I think that we should focus more on the first couple of days of free agency here, because the draft,
it's hot.
You know what? We'll get to it because we've talked about it all the time. After the first round, it's kind of a coin toss of whether the guys are even worth talking about making it into the league. So we can discuss. We'll use this time wisely to talk about the first couple of days of free agency here. I think the expectation, this is.
Do you want to talk Wings free agency here? Or just like some
Red Wings free agency.
I'll say there's some good major signings that we should talk about too.
Right. So I think the expectation from Wings fans, and again, this is just how I thought things would go, and same thing with a few of just talking with people. This is everyone is in agreement with this. Stevie, I don't know if he's afraid to make a big move right now or what's going on, but I'm glad that we're adding depth. We have a lot of,
but you can only add so much depth.
10 new people now on the team. We're good with goalies.
6, 7, 8, 9 new people.
So we picked up goalies Alex Lyon and James Reimer. We picked up right wing Daniel Sprong,
and
left
Fisher.
Wings JT Comfer, Tim Gettinger, and then
you forgot Christian Fisher.
Okay, well, I don't even think I'm not sure if he's even worth talking about. Same thing with this Brogan Rafferty. I know nothing about him. Justin Hall, I think that was a solid pickup. Shane Gostisbehere, he has been hot and cold, but the ones that certain depth.
The ones that are like notable are Comfort and Gostisbehere. Like to your point, Hall could be interesting. He was kind of hit or miss in Toronto, but we've talked about it numerous times. Kind of a new scene, new team. Could be just what he needs to kind of get a little spark in his step and play a little bit better defense. It's nice because he is a right-handed defenseman, which of course we needed. We've talked about that ad nauseum, right? That's the biggest miss for the Wings right now is they have minimal right-hand defensemen other than Seider. Now Hall. We got Lindstrom, of course, and then Rafferty to Tyler's point, which I don't know who I think he played for the Kings.
No, that was I believe we got him from Seattle as well.
Oh, okay. Well, shows how much
we picked up Daniel Sprong,
which I've heard a little bit of response. It actually came from Vancouver, Tyler. Surprisingly,
he came from Vancouver.
Yeah,
I thought that we got either way. Doesn't matter.
He may have came away of Seattle, but apparently he never played for Seattle.
That's odd. I saw him in a Seattle jersey when I looked him up.
Rafferty?
No, Sprong.
Oh, Sprong. Yes, Sprong. Excuse me. Yes. Sorry, two different
Yeah.
people. Yes, Sprong did come from there. Sorry about that, Tyler.
No, you're good. And so basically, everyone knows who the Wings have picked up at this point. I think that there's a lot of kind of confusion as to why there hasn't been a big move that's been made yet. I know that the free agency class right now is maybe not the strongest, but there's still some definite moves that could be made, and I think people are starting to get a little antsy here. Like, hey, not questioning uh, Iserman, but kind of, like, hey, why are we not making moves here?
Right.
And
I'm trying to.
as I said, I think everyone's in agreement with that. I don't think that there's anyone who would disagree. Or I'm
No.
sure there probably are, but I mean, it's the minority that would be thinking that.
I mean,
Um,
yeah. To your point, yes. It's a weaker free agency class. I'm just kind of going through the teams right now and kind of looking at what's kind of available, like who's been signed. Um, it's there's not any big names that stand out. We've talked about DeBrincat, of course. Tyler and I were talking beforehand. Since he's an RFA, what happens is if whatever team decides to make him an offer, Ottawa has the opportunity to come back and say yes, no, we're going to offer the same thing. If not, what happens is they get compensation and draft picks for that specific player. I don't know how the compensation is based, but that'll be interesting to play out, and that could play into hopefully what Yzerman was doing. We still have, I think, 2 first rounds next year, a stack full of seconds. I'd like to see a move and kind of get a goal scorer. That's what we're lacking. We really need that goal scorer because right now we have Larkin, which again, nothing wrong with Larkin, but
he just needs help around him.
we can't just have we just can't have Larkin. That's just it's not happening.
Can we please get 1 to 2 guys that are 30 goal scorers? And I think that would be.
Tyler.
I'll take one.
I'll even take a couple like 40 to 60 points. They don't even need to be goals. I just need some more people to get some like pucks around the net. Like that's the biggest thing. Like yes, we have a lot of assists, but we still need players putting pucks there so we can get some goals. Like it's just.
I think you can expect that from Compher.
You think so?
From what I've been seeing, so last season with the Colorado Avalanche was his best season thus far.
That's what I thought when I was looking at it. When I was looking at his stats, they weren't very impressive as far as like being consistent.
Remember, you have to look at playing time involved in that too. Like, is he being efficient with his time on ice? If someone has 52 points in 82 games like he did last year, I don't. If he's playing bottom 6 minutes, I think that's pretty. I think that's pretty good.
No, I'm not saying that, but then it goes to go like. Where are we slotting him in the lineup? Is he going to be a second line center, which is probably where he's going to be? And then it goes to like, okay, is he really a second line center, or is he just put in that position because we don't have anybody else as far as that depth position? And I feel like that's what we ran into last year, right? We're kind of playing let's mix the lines up and see who's the best. And it's like, how about no, when we just get an actual real line and keep it there? Like I don't have a problem with plug and play, but at the same time, I'd like to have it where it's you're plugging and playing it, and there's no difference. It's not like you have to put an update in. You know what I mean? It's like it's good to go.
And it looks like he is a center and right wing hybrid, so he can be moved to either center or wing, which is pretty good.
Which is where honestly we don't need I don't think we need any more wingers, do we? Like that's like the one spot I think we're pretty.
I think
good.
Well, with injuries that were that plagued us last year, I think that you need to have these type of hybrid players. I think it's a good thing to have.
Yeah.
I mean the thing is, and
who's
to say, what's that?
So we picked up Kailer Yamamoto from
Edmonton.
Thank you. With
Klim Kostin.
Yep, with Kostin, we bought out Yamamoto. He looks like he got picked up by Seattle with that $1.5 million contract.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that a move like that, I'm not too sure. Um,
I,
I guess I don't know
so that's
the benefit of why Iserman did that.
what,
I'm
and that's
sure there has to be, but I don't understand.
yeah, but is it what like Clem Costin? Is he really was he really worth that? Like,
Worth what? We picked him up for nothing.
I know we got him for future. How much was the buyout for Yamamoto?
That I don't know.
You know what I'm saying? Is that a 3 years? Is that a 4-year buyout? How long is it left on his contract? I got to look that up. Like it's one of those things. Like, yes, I get where you're coming from, Tyler, but at the same time, if he's not producing, how I look at it, he needs to produce at like Costa needs to produce at the amount of his contract plus whatever we're playing Yamamoto.
Oh,
No,
I
no,
don't know
no,
about that.
no. I'm to make it worthwhile, in my opinion, because then you're essentially losing cap anyways. You're losing that whatever it is mil. It shouldn't be too much. I'm looking it up right now. But I don't know. That's just my view on that. Like when it comes to buyout contracts, when it comes to like multiple players, and you're getting rid of one or the other.
Yeah,
Let's see here.
I
Yamamoto. Okay, it's not bad. We're only paying him 433,000 this year, and then 533 next year. So that's pretty
yeah,
minimal. So honestly, if you look at him and if you do what I said, right, and combine those two contracts, it's 2.4. So that's nothing. If he can't play as a $2.5 million player, then he probably is not going to get re-signed anyways. Just saying.
right. I'm trying to look up a little bit on so what Iserman said about Klim Kostin. He said he's big, he skated well, got more involved. He played on a pretty deep team in Edmonton, so there's an opportunity for him to take on a bigger role. Okay, so
Interesting. um, I mean, so Valeno's gone, right?
I would imagine, but
Um,
see,
Ernie's
this
Ernie,
is I just got Ernie's got to be gone.
yeah, Ernie and Hag both got to be gone, right?
But if we look at I mean, this is what's so confusing about all of these pickups is like, okay, what does our lineup look like?
Yeah.
Because I've tried to look this up and I can't figure it out. But um, we
Well, that's the
did
thing, right?
speak. Go ahead.
You have like the guaranteed first line of Larkin, and that's it.
And then, well, no, I think Andrew Kopp, you could pretty much say that's surefire that he's going to be second line center.
Yeah, but I'm talking about like so Larkin. Dude, it's so hard to look at like when you're looking at this and trying to like figure out like as far as like where each person's gonna fit into the lineup as far because like that's the one thing that Yzerman did a lot last year is kind of like mix and match. He literally found players, put them in different spots, try to see what different lines connected, what different lines meshed well. Which I think we're going to see a lot of that going into the beginning of the season as well as preseason, right? Just kind of seeing what works well together. Of course, you're going to have Larkin, into your point, Cop. But after that, I think it kind of gets mixed up as far as who's on the wings and who's centering, third and fourth line.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm a little disappointed that again, this is only a couple days into free agency, but I was really hoping to have just at least one big name that was kind of like a wow, this is exactly what we needed. This is a statement that we're trending in the right direction. Because I'll tell you what, I understand that we had a lot of injuries last season, and it's the new season under Derek Lalonde last year, right? So year two, the expectations are you have to be competing for a playoff spot, in my opinion. You have to.
Well, that's the thing, though. Like at this point, it doesn't feel like we're competing for a playoff spot because what moves did we make to like? Yes, we've added players. Yes, we've added depth. But at the end of the day, do we really feel like that
Are
was
we
the
better?
necessary? Yeah, is that the necessary steps that, or are we just the same? Like with Bertuzzi going to Boston, and now, unfortunate for him, going to the Leafs.
We'll
Which
talk
honestly,
about that in a second too.
yeah.
That's a real head scratcher for me.
So yeah, it's like, we're losing goal scorers, but did we really add that much depth when it comes to goal scoring? And that's again what we
Depth,
needed.
yes, but not anything exciting.
Not goal scoring depth, just depth. Just
Right.
players, players taking ice time up essentially.
Right. I mean, don't get me wrong. Yeah, a lot of people are going to not like the number that we got JT Confer at, which I understand. However, he is a good player, and it's good to have. It's good knowing that we added him for depth, right?
Yeah.
But I would have been happier if we would have just gotten to Brinkett.
Yeah, dude.
Of course, you know what I mean.
I mean,
That's
honestly,
the easy thing to say.
I feel like that's the best player out right now as far as like goal scoring goes. That's an RFA that we can actually sign up for, and feel comfortable signing up for a 3, 4, 5 year deal possibly. I don't think Eisman would want to do a 1 year deal. I think that's just kind of stupid at that point. You're kind of
Well, he wouldn't. DeBrincat wouldn't want to do it anyway.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like there's no way. So you're looking at a 5 year deal, and I feel like that's a player that you can trust as far as signing him up for that long. Otherwise, you kind of there's just players out there like we've been doing, right? You're signing up for 1 year, 2 year deals, which again is fine, but it's like come on. I mean, the Comfort deal is interesting. The guy again, it's at the end of the day, what gets me is we signed him at 5.1, right? I'm bringing it up right now. Bertuzzi just signed at 5.5. So you're telling me, like, I haven't watched Confer enough to compare him to what Bertuzzi plays like, but at the end of the day, it baffles me that Eisman would rather have him over Bertuzzi when it comes to $400,000.
I think that's so. I don't think it's comparable because Bertuzzi wanted more money.
Yeah.
I think I can't remember exactly what the number was, but they weren't even close.
No.
And this is what's confusing about Bertuzzi going to Toronto for 1 year at 5.5, which is way under what he was asking for. So I'm not understanding why he decided to go to Toronto.
Yeah, but do you think he at the end of the day, why would he want to take a cheaper deal to go to Toronto, which inevitably you're gonna this sounds messed up, but we've seen it numerous times, right? Like it's not happening. They're not going to win. They're not going to go anywhere. Even with Max Domi, I mean, they signed some other players. I'm trying to look right now. Of course, my buddy Chad, if the typical Leafs fan. Oh, they added all this depth. Like who? Klingberg. I mean, okay, that one's a decent signing. I'll give him that one. But you only got him for 1 year, and at the end of the day, you don't you pretty much used your cap space with what you had right there. You're pretty much done.
Right.
So I'll be interested to see what they can do with the minimal amount of stuff that they have.
I think that the Leafs they're looking better in some aspects, but also you have to understand that Ryan O'Reilly left, even though he had a qualifying offer with Toronto. He didn't want to stay in Toronto. Pretty insane to me.
I mean, do you blame him though? At the end of the day, who really wants to stay in Toronto? Who wants to stay in Toronto? And when you look at when you look up Toronto's free agencies, right? I mean, most of them. Let's see here. They've re-signed none of them. It looks like everybody else has signed somewhere else. Did they not sign Samsonov yet? That seems odd to me.
I'm not sure.
Who the hell? That seems.
What was his contract up?
Yeah.
Oh, that's something that's news to me. I had no idea.
Yeah, apparently
let's see.
I'm looking it up right now because that just seems odd that they wouldn't want to sign him. Like, what are you gonna do?
One thing that I think that it's very strange that that Bertuzzi didn't want to stay in Boston. Maybe he saw the writing on the wall that, okay, after these guys like Marchand and Bergeron is pretty much retired at this point, unless I don't think he's actually come out with an official statement. Maybe I'm wrong, but he's not coming back. Once all of these guys retire, they're going to be in trouble.
They retained his rights. They retained his rights, so they have the intention of offering him something, but So I guess I don't understand how that works because he is a free agent, so I'm assuming he must have been an RFA, but at the same time, he's still eligible for arbitration. He's also eligible, I think, for other offers to come in. So we'll see how that plays out for him. Do we are we re-signing Rasmussen?
Is his contract up as well?
Yeah. What season is this? What year is this?
We are going into the 2023-2024 season.
No, I lied. His contract ends next season. Excuse me. Disregard.
So one move that I thought was pretty interesting, just looking at the entire free agency tracker, Lucic is heading back to Boston for 1 year, $1 million. I'm just assuming that he wants to play one final season in this city that gave him. They revered him. I mean, he played that tough-nosed Boston-style hockey. So I think he's going to retire a Bruin. I think that's pretty cool for them. But other than that, Bruins they're looking rough.
Yeah, I mean, it's not surprising though. Like a couple players said they're not coming back. I can't remember who they are because I'm off the top of my head. I'm not really thinking, but some of their older players are probably not coming.
Van Riemsdyk. They inked Van Riemsdyk to a 1 year, $1 million. They added Kevin Shattenkirk. So I don't know if they're just trying to push for the cup one more time. It's very confusing as to what the Bruins are doing right now.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's this kind of typical thing. You go from the President's Cup to kind of having to. I mean, when they literally threw everything at it, right? And that's kind of their issue. They threw everything at it, lost picks, lost money, and now they're kind of paying for it with where they're at. So I don't know. Again, the Red Wings didn't make moves I wanted to see. There's still some free agency left. We still have time before the season comes into play. But I'd like to see something done sooner rather than later because as time goes on, the list gets smaller and smaller, and it starts to be more like what we were last season. Which there's no reason for us to be not in contention for a playoff spot, in my opinion. We're too far from where we were to be in that stagnant step as far as like, well, we're just gonna stay right here and we're still rebuilding. Like, no. And on that other note, one thing I want to mention, speaking of rebuilds, Chicago, like, did they just skip the rebuild altogether? Like, what the fuck?
This is kind of to be expected when you get a generational talent like Connor Bedard, or at least that's how it's been advertised. And
I mean, not even Connor Bedard though, but like they're just adding players around him though. It's just like, okay, well, holy shit.
We talked about this.
Hold on, Anthony Seal got paid 4.2. That's insane.
No, he's hit the 30 goal mark a few times in his career. I don't think that's too high.
He had 40 points for the Blackhawks last season.
Yeah, I'm saying he's hit the 30 goal mark a few times, maybe twice or something.
He's had 30 goals one time.
Okay. Other than that,
normally he's not. No, it's fucking horrible. He scores normally like on average. Here, I'll give you an average right now over seasons. Think about something else. Do.
So yeah, I'm looking him up right now as well.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Did he? So I know that he had one really good season with with the Red Wings. I think that was his 30 goal
He's
season.
He's averaging less than 1 goal. Wait, how's this work? So hold on. Let me do nine seasons, or do we divide by game?
Let's just leave it at the fact that he, we get it. So I misspoke. One season at 30 goals, and then the rest has been like
0.27.
20.
0.27 goals a game is what he's averaging.
Well, Chicago seems to like him.
They overpaid.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's okay. And real quick, anyone listening, sorry if Tyler's microphone sounds all scratchy. I think a cat chewed on his earbud or something midway through the conversation.
I don't have a cat.
Well, your dog did then.
Nope.
Yeah, your son stuck it. So. Your son stuck in his nose. That's what happened. I figured it out. It's all coming true. No, but just in case anyone's curious, what happened mid conversation. That's what it is.
So one thing that I do like about the Leafs is that they added Ryan Reeves. That's one thing they were missing some toughness.
You had Wayne Simmons.
I think, yeah, but Reeves is on a different level. He's heavyweight, man.
Yeah, I agree.
So I do like that move, and that's probably the only time that I'll say that I like a move from Toronto, because I just don't like them. But Radko Gudas, 3-year, $12 million deal with the Ducks.
I'm kind of bummed we didn't pick him up. I'd like to see him on the wings.
Yeah, I would have liked to see it.
Could you imagine him? Is he left-handed or right-handed?
That I don't know.
Well, him and Sider on a line together would have been stupid.
Bash Brothers.
Dude, it'd have been. Could you imagine being the other team though, just like trying to skate? Like you'd be literally like looking. Where's the other one at? Where's the other one? They probably do some bullshit where there's like sneak up on each other, like sneak up on the other team. One's in front, and then here comes the other guy, like a fucking wrecking ball.
They'd be highlight reels every week.
Yeah. Versatile forward Kristen Fisher joins the parade of talent headed to Detroit this offseason. That's kind of that's very interesting writing at ESPN.
This is what I'll say, just to kind of sum up everything. I understand that Yzerman was dealt a really, really crummy hand when he came to the Red Wings as general manager. We get that. So we knew that he didn't put a number on the amount of years that this rebuild was going to take. So I can understand that. Last year, we started to take a step in the right direction, and then we had a bunch of injuries. That's out of our control.
We're at 4 years, though.
That's right. But the thing is, I was having this conversation with Hugh. Was there anyone? I mean, are we happy with the draft picks? Are we happy with?
No, I mean, we can talk about the draft. Like, honestly, I don't know who the fuck we drafted in the first round. I had to look them up. I didn't.
No. I'm not talking about just this one. I'm talking about just in general. Since Yzerman has taken control.
Yes, in general, yes. This year, again, it's always a head scratcher when we're picking up goalies. I'll tell you right now. Everyone's like, "Oh, that was a great pick by the Red Wings for that goalie," and I'm just like, "What the." How many goalies? Like I don't know. I'm glad it wasn't the first round. I'll tell you that right now. But it's like, I don't know. It's like, and I heard the Axel guy's pretty good. That's the other one I was gonna say. The Axel guy I heard is pretty good as far as like
at 17th overall, I think.
Yeah, and he's a big guy. He's a big boy.
But anyway, well, before we shift to talk about the first, I think we should just really focus on the first
2 picks.
Yeah. So. Just in summary, what I'll say is I understand that we were having to be very patient from the start. And I think that Yzerman has done a really good job with cleaning up the Holland mess. I think he's done a really good job with that. Blashill, actually, I think Zadina may be one of those final pieces. Blashill going out the door as well. So things are definitely looking up. I think the darkest days for the Wings in the Yzerman era are behind us. However, I am expecting to battle for a playoff spot this year.
I'm
if
hoping
if
so.
that's not the expectation in the locker room, if that's not the expectation this year, then I'm going to be I'm not going to start to question the Iser plan, but I am impatient at this point. We
No,
need to start making some moves. We can't say, well, we don't have enough money. We do. We have enough money. Well, we're waiting for the right player. When's that going to be?
what's the player? No, I
That's
get you, man. Nope, I get you. I'm in the same boat. Let's jump over to the old draft. We had a 9th overall pick, of course. We never get first overall ever, and we never will forever. That's just how it happens. But we picked up Nate Danielson out of Red Deer. He's a center. He's playing for the
Brandon
Brandon
Wheat
Wheat
Kings.
Kings, yeah, at the WHL.
So one thing about him, I looked up an entire scouting report on him. He plays on a bad team. The Wheat Kings are not a good team. So this guy is a smooth skating, big center. I think
6'2".
he's 6'2", 6'2". He's definitely not done growing. I think he's 19 years old, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, on a bad team, he still managed to sneak into top 10. I think he was 8th overall in WHL scoring. That's pretty impressive if you're putting up 78 points in 68 games, over a point per game, where I don't think anyone else on his team is even close to a point per game. And if you're doing that on a really bad team, that's something that we should look forward to. Now, he is 9th overall. There were some projections saying he could go as high as 7, some projections saying he could fall as low as 23. Whatever. From this scouting report, I think that 9 makes sense. He was the best available from, people were saying, oh, are we going to get Matvey Michkov or whatever his name is? Well, he wasn't available. So, thinking about everything possible at that moment for that pick, I think that's the best one.
No,
And
I
I
agree.
got to tell you, I didn't know anything about him prior to him being drafted, excuse me. But I have to say, it's probably going to be a 3 to 4 years before we see him in the NHL. I'd have to imagine.
Yeah, I'd
But
agree.
he could have a really good camp, and it's weird because there are some people where they can get into the NHL and their game takes no time to transfer over. Others,
Right,
it takes a
almost
long
immediate.
time, and some people never even end up panning out. So I would like to point out the last time we picked 9th overall, it was another big center, Michael Rasmussen.
Well, that was Ken Holland's pick, so it won't go there. Um,
Yeah.
so 17th, we picked up a a Swedish guy. Surprise, surprise. Coming a defenseman, a big defenseman. I think he is 6 foot something. Oh, he's only 5'11". Excuse me. He's actually kind of short. 6 foot. We'll call it 6 foot on skates. Decent sized. Played pretty decent over there. Over in Sweden. I think he's playing in the. Did he play in the top league? Yep. Had 5 points with the most of any defenseman 18 years or younger last season. So he can score the puck. I think they're trying to mimic kind of like a Sider-esque type player, hopefully. I don't think he's that type of physical player, but they're hoping, the Swedish league seems to develop good players. And so that's kind of where I feel like Eiserman's kind of been looking at more recently. So it kind of surprised me also when we picked someone from the CHL first, as opposed to.
Right. Well, it all depends on where the need is, and I think that it's always good. What was it, 2 years in a row where we had Edmondson. No, I'm sorry. So we had Sider drafted 6th overall, and then Edmondson again 6th overall. But wait, that wasn't consecutive years because we did Sider, then Raymond, and then Am I right in that? Edmondson
So
was
9th,
20.
8th, 6th, 4th, 6th,
Yep.
9th.
Okay. Yep. So my whole point was I think that it's good that we did pick up another defenseman, but maybe this is exactly how it was supposed to pan out. It's all about not only who's available to pick at that point in time, but where's the need?
Yep.
What need do you have to address first? So
Nope. I agree. Which is, I feel like what we
And-
filled with the first 2 draft picks, right? A defenseman and a goal scorer.
yeah, and it's so funny when people say that these people who have no idea what they're talking about will grade the draft and say, "Oh, this is what I think. These are my thoughts on the Red Wings draft," and they give it like a C+ or whatever. Well, guess what? They gave Moritz Seider a D in 2019 when he was drafted. Well, they shoved that right down their throats. I mean, I can't stand seeing these clowns post their, I guess it's their thoughts and opinions, whatever. I'm allowed to have my own opinion about how stupid it is.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely awesome. 4th of July weekend. No. I feel like just gonna say it's 4th of July weekend. Hope everyone has a safe 4th, and hopefully soon we'll have some more information as far as like a big name coming on.
Please.
Yeah. Hopefully we can get Carly on soon, kind of go over draft picks and stuff, and hopefully we can also get Paul Cotter on. I spoke to him earlier in the season. He was going to come on this summer. We'll see if we can still get him. Mr. Stanley Cup himself. So.
One last quick note that I'll make.
Mm-hmm.
Our friend Andy Velo, who came on the podcast about probably 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Dustin?
Yeah.
So he played the NHL draft pre-show.
Oh, nice.
Right outside of Bridgestone Arena.
Nice.
So congratulations to our buddy Andy on that. That was pretty big. And he killed it. And I'm hoping that, as you said, Yzerman gives us something to talk about for the next time that we're on, which is going to be 2 weeks.
Yep. Awesome. Well, let's get the puck out of here, and we'll see you next week. 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks. See ya.
See ya.